of the situation to the detriment of American interests. One America's Neil W. McCabe has more from Washington.
Virginia Republican Congressman Tom Garrett told One American News his recent trip to the Iraq-Syria theater of operations confirmed to him that Turkey is behaving as an enemy of the United States, and President Donald Trump is not getting the information he needs to achieve peace in the region.
I know the president watches OAN. I have it on very good authority. If I were to give him one message, it would be please listen to people who've been there and seen this on the ground.
Garrett said he spent 11 days in northern Iraq and eastern Syria during the Thanksgiving recess. Although he is a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, the congressman paid for the trip himself and was not there in an official capacity. When he got there, he said he was stunned by the audacity of Turkish and Turkish-affiliated forces striking targets in Iraq and seizing territory in Syria.
While I was in Syria, Turkish-sanctioned forces fired on the building where I stood just over Thanksgiving. And the people who were manning the post that came under fire by these Turkish-sanctioned forces, they said, why is the United States allowing this to happen?
In the months since U.S.-backed units cleared ISIS from Turkish districts such as Afrin along the Syrian-Turkish border, Turkey has moved in to incorporate these towns into Greater Turkey, he said. These occupations ignore that the Kurds are intensely loyal American allies whose soldiers are the most effective against ISIS.
Turkey has essentially not liberated Afrin, al-Bab, Jarablus, but conquered. The evidence is replete if you're willing to look for it. Pictures of the hospital in Afrin, for example, will show writing prior to the Turkish occupation in Arabic and Kurdish. It's now in Turkish and Arabic.
More importantly, he said, Kurdish school children are now being taught entirely in Turkish. Garrett said a piece of paper states that Turkey is a NATO ally of the United States, but it does not behave like one. However, Pentagon leaders consistently look the other way as Turkey works with Iran and Russia to undermine American interests in the region. It is a situation he addressed in a December 10th speech on the House floor.
We should inform Turkey ultimately that they can get out of Syria or they can get out of NATO.
The congressman, whose seat was first held by James Madison in the first session of Congress, said another complication was when Defense Secretary James Mattis ordered Special Forces personnel to facilitate his extraction.
Secretary Mattis's office, or the highest levels of DOD, had requested that they ask that we go to their armored vehicle, go to an LZ, and be extracted by helicopter for our own safety.
A Capitol Hill source told One American News that Garrett's office also received calls from Speaker Paul Ryan's office, the State Department, and the office of Vice President Mike Pence, all urging the congressman to leave the theater immediately. Garrett did not run for re-election in 2018, and he said when he returns to private life, he will continue to be active in national security policy and telling the American people the difference between what the government says our foreign policy is and what the government is actually doing overseas. Neil W. McCabe, One American News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly